Hey everyone, Ronan here, and welcome back to the channel. We got a lot to cover in today's part, as it's a very important and pivotal moment for the rest of this journey. But before we get into that, Harrison Woodruff, thank you very much for the support over on Patreon. And as always, guys, please check out these analytics right here. And also, please don't forget to drop a like and a comment so that way you can help fuel the algorithm and help the video get to a larger audience. And if this is your first time here, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so that way you'll never miss another upload from the channel. And if you want to consider going a little bit further and helping support the channel a little further, please consider joining my Patreon or becoming a YouTube channel member. There's links on the channel and in the description of this video. But with all that being said, let's get into What If Ash Won the Hoenn League Part 15. I hope you enjoy. We begin today's part with our heroes as they are being dropped off in one of the most isolated towns in all of Hoenn, known as Pacific Log Town. It is a town that floats in the middle of the South Hoenn Seas. Rumor has it that what remains of the people of the water are the direct descendants that live in this very small place with less than 100 residents. This is where we see a group waving to Drake as the Salty Sea Dog sets sail back to LaRue City to bring supplies to the area as reconstruction has already begun. Now that these events with the Weather Trio are behind our heroes, they get a chance for the first time in what seems like weeks to actually relax. This is where we slide to the night of their arrival, as everyone has kind of separated so they can have their own personal space after everything that has happened. However, this isn't by choice for some. Brock has chosen to exile himself to a dark corner of the Pokemon Center as he continues his research on the Master Block. The breeder has a feeling that won't leave the pit of his stomach that something is going to happen to Manaphy, so he must be ready with an answer or he will never be able to forgive himself. Now, while Brock works in self-loathing, we move to Ash. The boy has wanted to talk with May as he still blames himself for what happened to her, but Max is doing everything he can to run interference and occupy as much of her time as possible. This leaves May in a position that she feels like she must adhere to Max's relentless requests, resulting in her telling Ash that they will have to talk when she has a moment. This leaves our hero with a sense of uncertainty. He can't stand the thought of May blaming him for what happened to her like Max does, and because he is keeping the girl focused on the needy little brother, this is a feeling that Ash can't seem to kick. However, as the group makes themselves comfortable in the Pokemon Center, they are set upon by some familiar faces. The regular contestants Grace, Harley, Erica, and Joshua have all made their way to Pacific Log Town. Come to find out that there is a contest that is less than a day away. While Ash and May have had a rough go of things as of late, the prospects of a contest and another ribbon could be the thing that gets them back on track. So the two begin whatever last minute planning they can and fine tuning of their teams and strategies so that way they can be as prepared as possible. This results in two things happening. The first is Ash deciding that he will use the team of Spoink and Snowrunt. The two have become fast friends and have demonstrated a knack for showmanship. Snowrunt likes to use its icy wind to create ice sculptures in the shape of people and things, has taken an interest in using its psychic abilities to move whatever it can, even going as far as to manipulate some of Snowrunt's attacks to help it in its efforts to put on a magical winter show. Ash has really been impressed with the two. Their natural synergy is something that the boy wants to start working on, and this contest will be the perfect place to do so. While Ash is doing his thing, we move over to May, who is trying her best to work on a demonstration, but with Max not wanting her to leave his side, she finds it rather difficult, especially with her newest catch, as the Pokemon she accidentally caught on Drake's ship was the gluttonous Munchlax, and ever since they got to Pacific Log Town, it has been doing nothing but eating away at everything that it can get its paws on. This results in the girl recalling it so she can focus on her routine. Luckily though, the girl seems to have a secret weapon in her arsenal. As the girl does her best to ignore Max and his pestering, she sees Chimecho and Seviper engaging in some interesting activities. Using its Heal Bell and Psywave, the psychic type is able to lure Seviper into a trance. May thinks that there might be something there. She just has to use what time they have to focus on it. But this doesn't mean that she won't be without some prying eyes, as Harley has once again found himself looking, as there aren't really many places that are private, as they literally are floating on logs in the middle of the ocean. However, Harley sees nothing that is of concern to him, so he chooses to turn in early, leaving May to push herself through the night. This brings us to the next morning and the start of the contest. We see for the overall small town, the amount of people that have shown up is far more than Ash and May have seen in the past contest. The truth of it is, like Harley and Grace are here to earn their final ribbon, as Harley has made it oh so clear with his gloating on having more than May. However, the girl simply ignores him, as she has her eyes set on the prize, as demonstrated in the first round when May goes first. The choice she uses here is her their trusty serpent. Through her work overnight, Viper was able to unlock a new move that is on full display as a combination of Poison Tail and Rollout are demonstrated. The move has created a new variation of Viper's Poison Coil that wows the judges. This secures May a spot in the next round, easily leaving Harley eating his words as she walks by without a word. This leads us into the rest of the demonstrations, with Ash, Harley, Grace, Erica, and Joshua all making it through the first rounds, and even into the second round of demonstrations into the battle rounds. Ash is able to secure his first round win, making it to the top 4 with his new secret weapon, Spoink, while Harley is using his Ariados and manages to secure his spot. This leads us into the next battle round with May, as she has to take on Erica. However, Erica displays how much she has grown since the contest in Rustboro, as her newly caught giraffe rig is showing just how much power and ability they have together when they are able to overpower May and Chimeco. It seems that our heroine is going to lose, as the psychic abilities of Hermon pale in comparison to their opponents. However, just as Erica orders a stomp to end this battle, May sees an opening using a wrap to bind the feet of their opponent, taking control of this battle. The girl then orders Chimeco to use a double edge that is unblocked, though this will come at a cost of points to May, but it won't matter as it has enough power to get a knockout, with Chimeco barely hanging on, moving May to the top 4. This just leaves Joshua and Grace, who both have an outstanding battle with their Houndoom and Wigglytuff, giving a battle that is the stuff that will be talked about for weeks to come. However, a winner must be chosen, and at the end of the 5 minutes, Joshua gets just enough points to move on to the top 4, leaving Grace a bit sad, but glad that she got to battle such a powerful coordinator. This allows us to get into the top 4. Harley, as always, is wanting to battle May, but ends up getting paired with Ash in his first round. While Harley is a great coordinator in his own right, he goes into this battle underestimating what Ash can actually do. He relies too much on Ariados' speed and typing, allowing Ash to find an opening needed to take advantage of Harley's hubris. This allows the boy to secure his win with a light screen and a swift combo to highlight a failed pin missile from Ariados. To the disgust and disbelief of Harley, he is forced to watch as Ash makes his way to the final rounds. This just brings us to the battle with May and Joshua, which has a similar flair to it, with Houndoom dominating the whole thing. But Chimeco, while small, is able to use Houndoom's size to its advantage, as a wrap secures its snout of the doggo, preventing it from using any of its attacks. As it flails about, the Hound loses points, which is driven home when a double edge is once again able to edge out a win, moving May into the finals with Ash. This brings May and Ash face to face, which causes the boy to feel the way he was before the contest. The battle gets underway, however the actions of the battle is a backdrop to Ash and May, as they use this time to finally communicate. At first, it's through their moves, with what seems to be Ash pulling his punches, allowing May to score big points and damage. However, the girl sees that something isn't right and she begins to poke at Ash, trying to get a response. This eventually leads to the boy coming out with all of his feelings, telling May sorry that she had to go through everything that she did. Ash tried to save her, but he was unable to, and he doesn't want her to blame him for it. This puzzles May, as she never did, stating so. Ash did what he could and never gave up until she was safe. As far as she's concerned, Ash is a true friend, ever since Pikachu fried her bike. Now, the only thing that would make her change that view is if Ash wouldn't battle her with everything that he has. In this moment, a sense of relief washes over Ash, causing him to smile. Fine, you want a battle? Then you got it. Excited that Ash is ready to give it his all, May gives the order for Chimeco as Spoink prepares to fire a Psywave. The battle finally rages to its climax, with a cloud of smoke enveloping the area. When it finally clears, a winner can be seen as Chimeco levitates as Spoink lay unconscious. May is declared the winner, securing her 4th ribbon, while Ash looks on, happy that they could finally have this moment. All the while, a very sour Max looks on from the crowd, unhappy that May is okay with everything that Ash did to her. After the contest, May and Ash meet to get their Pokemon looked at by Nurse Joy. May thanks Ash for all of the effort that he gave in making sure that she was safe. However, as she says this, Max walks up to hear this. The way he perceives this is that May thinks that Ash was the only one that saved her. The boy yells at May, "How could you side with him? He wasn't the one that saved you, it was me. Ash is the reason you got into that mess in the first place." Turning, May looks at Max, only to see tears rolling down the boy's face. "What is your issue?" she yells. "It was a combined effort to save me. Ash did just as much work as you and Brock. But May, you got captured because of Ash. He's the reason you were in danger." The girl is puzzled by this remark, asking Max why he thinks that Ash caused this. On the verge of a breakdown, Max says that they were in Souptopolis for his gym battle, so he's the reason that she got kidnapped and put in danger. If they hadn't been following Ash this whole time, then he and May wouldn't have been in danger and Max wouldn't have lost his first and only friend. This outburst happened in front of everyone in the center, which This draws in even Brock. Max just breaks down, sobbing, not really saying anything coherent. May is unsure of what to do as she looks at Brock and Ash, who just shrug, as their idea is as good as hers. The girl can do nothing but console the boy for the rest of the night as it fades on. The next day, our heroes are out in the open ocean, heading to the site of the next super contest in Slateport City. Luckily, Milotic, after getting a checkup from Nurse Joy, is ready to brave the waters of the open ocean. However, this tension is so thick that you can cut it with a knife, as Max hasn't spoken a word with anyone since the prior day. The only thing May can do is just sit by the boy as he faces off the backside of the serpent, looking into the open ocean. But this won't last long as a fog rolls in, and it's making it harder for them to see more than 2 feet in front of them. This results in Milotic getting sucked into a riptide that no one saw coming. As everyone is pulled under, the serpent tries to go for Ash, but the boy orders it after his friends. Milotic does as ordered as Ash sends out his newly evolved Flygon, who helps the boy out of the water. It then immediately follows the shadow of Milotic as it rounds up the others underwater. However, as it surfaces, one is noticeably missing. May and Max are safe, but the serpent couldn't find Brock. This immediately causes a panic as everyone, including Max, begins to scream his name. However, the breeder is nowhere in sight. Ash can't let this happen. They just got everyone back, so they have to search for him. He then orders Milotic to head west with May and Max, while he will search from the air on Flygon. They must stay in sight of each other in hopes of finding their friend. The three agree, and they begin to fan out. While this is happening, we shift over to the shores of an island that seems to be cloaked in a perpetual fog. On its banks is Brock, who is passed out with a very tired Lombre next to him, breathing heavily. Brock has used his water type, thinking it was strong enough to get him to the surface, but the truth is the currents were a little bit too strong for him, so they were swept away to this island. Luckily, after a short while, Brock wakes up to Lombre's happiness. The breeder looks around, asking if it has seen anyone, but the Lilypadmon shakes its head in disappointment. Brock, a bit wobbly on his legs, stands up, stating that they need to see if there's anyone else here. So they begin to search all over the island. Brock figures that if they get up to the top of the plateau that seems to sit at the center of it, then they will have a better vantage point. So the two get to climbing, as it is a near vertical ascent in the direction that they need to go. However, this is something that won't come without a headache, as it seems that the eyes of the two are being played tricks on, as from within the fog, shadows keep appearing in their peripheral vision. This causes Lombre to become paranoid as it fires water guns at the shadows. Brock does his best to console the water type, but there isn't really much he can do as he is dangling nearly 100 feet in the air. This eventually results in Brock getting hit with one of the water guns, which causes him to lose his grip and begin to fall. The breeder is beginning to think that this is it. However, he then comes to a sudden stop when a pair of hands grab him and help him secure a hold on the cliffside. At first, Brock thinks it's Lombre, but when he looks up, he can see that the water type is still firing away. This leaves the breeder in a very puzzled situation, not sure if he should be concerned that they are not alone on this island or not. Knowing he can't proceed with Lombre acting like this, Brock recalls it so that the water type can calm down in its Pokeball where it is safer. Brock then proceeds to continue his climb. All the while, he can't shake the feeling that someone or something is watching him. It takes a while, as it is now the dead of night in fog, so Brock is literally climbing blind. However, he eventually does get to the top. At first, Brock can't see anything, but as his eyes finally capture the dim light, he can see the stars of the galaxy above him. The breeder is in awe, as this is something that he hasn't really had time to stop and enjoy as of late. Knowing he should hunker down for the night, Brock makes himself a small fire with what food that he can find, and he makes a meal for himself. Then he settles in to get whatever sleep he can, hoping that when the sun arises, he will be able to see more than just the sky. As he fades to sleep, Brock is watched out of curiosity from the shadows of the island. The next morning, at first light, Brock awakens. However, the breeder is surprised by what he sees. All of his things have been rummaged through by something. This is a cause for concern. He was so tired that he didn't hear anything last night. Brock begins to take inventory of his stock. Nothing seems to be missing at first, but then he looks closer, only to realize that there is something that was taken, the Master Block. It's obvious that a Pokemon was the one in his camp. As the Master Block is something that one couldn't pass up, the breeder immediately packs everything up as he now has concern burning inside of him. Brock searches the island in a frantic pace, expecting to find a Pokemon that is sick. However, he finds nothing. The island is nearly barren on its east side. However, the west part of the island has vegetation that could be hiding someone or something, so Brock heads that way, only to be stopped when he hears what could be laughter. Looking around, Brock looks through the fog, trying to see who it is. However, nothing is there, but he can hear running, so Brock takes off in the direction of the sound. However, he again finds nothing but some small bushes. Brock is beginning to become discouraged. That is, until he looks closer at these bushes. Upon further inspection, Brock notices that he has seen these berries before, but it can't be. That would mean that this island is the one that the Berry Master spoke of. It's here Brock spots a Pokemon walking in front of him, snacking on some of the Master Block. "Hey, don't eat that," Brock says, but the Pokemon just bites down, choosing to ignore the warning and replying with a laugh. This puzzles Brock, but then he begins to connect the dots in front of him. It seems that the Enigma berries are the only source of food on this island, so these Pokemon that Brock have come to identify as Wynaut survive only on them. This intrigues the breeder as he looks over the berries, tasting them as he goes. He sees that there are small variations on what is on the island. As he walks through the grove while a small group of Wynaut follow him, Brock eyes something that looks familiar. A patch of Enigma berries that look like the ones that the Berry Master gave him. He reaches out to try and grab one, but the Wynaut that had been eating the Master Block smacks his hand, almost to say no. Brock looks at the Pokemon as it makes a demonstration that suggests they aren't ready to eat. This is when Brock begins to realize that the berries the Master had given him must not have been ripened when they were picked. That's why they made Torkoal sick. Beginning to understand the biology of the berries and the island, Brock picks some of the berries, thinking that he will be able to make some real Master Block of these. However, there is one thing that the breeder can't get away from. The Wynaut that was eating the Master Block. It is pestering Brock for some more, but the breeder has to inform him that there is none left. That was all he had, and besides, it could make you sick. However, the Wynaut insists that it wants more. The breeder then begins to understand that this Wynaut is a very special one, as it takes one of the berries out of his hands that isn't ripened and eats it. This causes the other Wynaut to scurry away as they find this action disgusting. "So you have a tolerance for them. Well, I guess I can make you some more Pokeblock." Brock then picks the berries and gets to work, making some of the imperfected Master Blocks that Wynaut gobbles down without thinking twice. The Babymon wants more, but Brock tells it that he can't make more here as it is out of the other style of berries. This causes the Wynaut to get sad. However, this is going to be interrupted when Brock hears a very familiar song coming from offshore. It can't be, he thinks to himself, but as he looks out into the fog, a familiar water type jumps from within the ocean only to land in the patch of berries. It's Manaphy, and it's eating the berries like they were no problem. This puzzles Brock at first, but then a wave of relief washes over the breeder as he realizes that the block must not have affected Manaphy like it did for his Pokemon. Maybe because it eats them regularly? A burden has been lifted from Brock as Manaphy walks back to the cliffside with a handful of the berries and jumps back into the ocean. Just as this happens, a voice echoes from within the fog. It's Ash calling Brock's name. The breeder begins to yell for his friend, only for Ash to appear on the back of Flygon. Ash is relieved to see Brock as he was beginning to lose all hope, but the breeder is fine, telling Ash that he will just be one more minute. Brock then hurriedly gathers 30 more berries or so and puts them into his bag. He then hops onto the back of Flygon. Ash gives the order for it to go and find May and Max, but as the dragon flaps its wings, the Wynaut that had been following Brock jumps on and makes itself at home, sitting on the shoulder of Brock. The breeder is a bit surprised as Ash says it looks like he made a new friend. Brock asks if Wynaut is sure it wants to come along, but it simply stares out into the ocean, content on its decision. "Okay," Brock says, "let's go." So the dragon lifts off, only for Brock and Wynaut to look back as the island fades into the fog, both happy that their time there is over. Eventually, Flygon finds Milotic and the group rejoices that Brock is okay. While the tension is still high due to Max, the edge has been taken off by Brock coming back. With everyone now secure, Ash gives the order for Milotic to swim as fast as it can. The contest in Slateport is less than a week away. The serpent lets out a cry before jetting off into the open ocean, steering clear of fog the best that it can. A day and a half later, our heroes find themselves on the shores of Slateport City. Everyone except Max is energized. This is the site of new beginnings for all of them. Brock has a new Pokeblock to make, while Ash and May have 3 ribbons to earn among the 2 of them. This is the last chance to do so as all of the other super contests have come to an end, so they both have a lot of work cut out for them. This is where the group decides to split up, but May decides that she will be taking Max with her, as she wants to keep an eye on the boy. First, we follow Brock. He heads straight into the contest hall as he is looking to get started right away. The relief of Manaphy and the new berry berries has given him a focus like never before. This is where Wynaut meets all of Brock's Pokemon. They all seem to get along, though the truth be told, when Brock tells them that they are going to make some new Master Block, they all protest right away. Well, all except for Wynaut, as it is actually excited for the prospect of its new favorite snack. You see, while they were headed to Slateport, they had stopped overnight on an island. It had a plethora of different berries that Brock wasted no time in picking, so that way he could have as many options as possible. The variety was impressive in a place as remote in the open ocean as this one. However, they did yield one benefit, as they are much bigger than the berries that are grown on the mainland. So the breeder in Wynaut reassures Brock's other Pokemon that what will be created here is going to be far different than what they had last time. However, this does little to console them when Brock pulls out the berries. He has the new ones that are all ripe and juicy, and the other ones that Wynaut loves. The breeder tells all of his Pokemon that they are only for Wynaut, as it loves eating them, as the baby picks up one of them to devour it in a single bite. While they are not excited about this prospect, they all agree to help, as they each have a very important job to do. As Brock gets to work, we switch over to Ash as we see him on the phone in the Pokemon Center. The boy is calling Professor Oak as he wants to make a brief change to his team. He tells Professor Oak that he will be sending over his Flygon. That way Oak can study it while he uses Mawile in the contest. The professor is excited about this exchange, as he would love to see a Flygon. Also, Oak informs Ash that Mawile has been hard at work and has taught itself a new move after training with the other Pokemon here in Pallet Town. He thinks that it may be something of use for the boy, but Ash may want to practice with it before implementing it, as the Steel type just barely learned it the day before last. Ash thanks the professor and the transfer is made. Ash looks at the ball of Mawile and thinks of the rest of the Pokemon in his belt. They have a lot to do, so they better get started. Right, Pikachu? The mouse lets out a Pika, but Ash is going to get a surprise as a very familiar voice calls his name. Turning, the boy smiles as Tyson is standing before him. This is where we change over to May and Max. The boy has been silent since May and he split from the group. However, May doesn't feel bad for what she said. Max has been acting more and more aggressive towards Ash for no reason, and it's causing her to lose focus, as now, once again, she has to worry about her brother. But luckily, he seems to be staying put while playing with Surskit. This allows her to get some much needed practice with all of her Pokemon, especially her newest one, Munchlax. The girl is a little bit annoyed that all it wants to do is eat. She even yells at it for knocking over a trash can and eating some rotten apple cores out of it. All the while, May's other Pokemon look a bit disgusted by its habits and, worst of all, its table manners. However, Munchlax seems oblivious to all of this, as it just wanders to the next can while May gives up, as she is tired of yelling. This prompts a response from a lone onlooker that May hasn't seen in a while. Drew, what are you doing here? The girl questions. The verdant-haired boy states that he is here for the super contest. Wait, don't you have 5 ribbons already? May questions, to which Drew confirms, but he states that he has still been competing in other contests to train his Pokemon. He's even won 2 additional ribbons, bringing his total to 7. This makes her a bit intimidated, as she has only captured 4 thus far, and she thinks that Drew will look down on her for it, as Drew is one of the coordinators she looks up to. May wants to impress him, though she doesn't want to admit it to herself. However, Drew says something that is the exact opposite to her, stating that he wants to see what she has learned since the last time they battled, so the next time they meet will be in the Grand Festival. That means that she had better win whatever ribbons she still needs, as out of all the coordinators he's battled in the past year, she is the one that he wants to battle at full strength, so she had better tighten up whatever loose ends she has, because he won't be holding back when they do have to battle. Drew then walks off, leaving May with a strange sense of motivation and focus that she didn't have at the start of her conversation. It's here that May takes the role of a leader of the group, yelling for everyone to focus with enough vigor in her voice that even Munchlax is a bit shocked and stands at attention. We start training now. In less than 3 days, we need to have everyone ready for our final push to the Grand Festival. They all nod, ready to get to work. All the while, Max sits there, stewing about the events that have happened. This brings us back to Tyson and Ash. The two are in mid-battle. They decided to have a 3-on-3. It was pretty intense when Tyson sent in his Metang, as it was able to take out Spoink rather easily. However, Mawile proved that it is far more experienced in battle when it used a new move, Hidden Power. While this could be any element, it happened to be the one that would be most troublesome for Metang, as it is fire-based. This allowed Ash and Mawile to come up with a new variation of the Sand Whip in battle when Ash used it with the Hidden Power and was able to easily take it out when the two hit with what looked like lava being thrown in their direction. This forced Tyson into his second Pokemon, which was his Hariyama, as it was thought that it would be a good choice due to the typing and its ability, Thick Fat. However, the rival quickly found out the hard way that Ash isn't one to care about typing, and Mawile was able to fight it to a tie, leaving the trainers with one Pokemon each. Tyson decides to go with his trusty Meowth as it is dressed for a roundup. Ash chooses to go with Pikachu here, however the battle is a bit one-sided, as Ash has had Pikachu far longer than Tyson has had his Meowth. They haven't still gotten on the same page since Tyson caught the feline, as it has a bit of a listening problem due to an incident that it had that had given it a bit of a chip on its shoulder. While it does get a few hits in with a slash and an Iron Tail, the fact is that it can't keep up with Pikachu, and with its move Electro Volley, the mouse is able to overwhelm the cat, with some shocking results, though the feline refuses to quit, forcing Tyson to recall it and concede the battle. Tyson tells Ash that he's gotten a lot better since the last time that they battled. He was really hoping to work with Meowth while they were in Slateport, since the league is still 2 months away. It would be the perfect time since they were home. So, you're from here, Ash questions? Yep, born and raised, Tyson responds. Ash is a bit intrigued by this, asking if Tyson will still be here when the Grand Festival is back here in a month's time. I don't see why not, the boy replies. This gets Ash excited, and he wants to make Tyson an offer. Since he will be back here for the festival, how about they have another battle? And not just any battle, but a full battle. That way, you can use Meowth again, and we can test each other for the league. Tyson is interested in this proposition, stating it's definitely something that he would like to do. Ash, even more excited, tells him great. It will give him time to get his last 2 badges before they have their battle. This surprises Tyson, as he would have thought that the boy would have them by now. But Ash says that he got a little sidetracked, so some time is going to have to be made up. Laughing, Tyson agrees to the battle, thinking it'll be a great motivator for not only him, but all of his Pokemon. The two then shake on it, with Ash telling his rival that he will be holding him to that promise. But he now has to go, as he has a lot of training to do for the contest, as he still needs to get 2 more ribbons. Ash then runs off, leaving Tyson to think about what he just said. That's the reason Ash and his Pokemon keep improving so fast. They are using the contest to train for the league. Well, it looks like we might have to do the same thing, Tyson thinks to himself. What follows is a very strenuous 3 days, as all of our heroes remain isolated from each other. May works on her contest performance to show Drew that she is ready for the level that he is at, while Brock toils away at the Master Block, slowly making progress to something that is more viable than the last. This is where we come to Ash. While all of his Pokemon are ready to compete, there is one that Ash can't seem to shake its funk out of. Grovyle has been silent, refusing to even try and eat. Ash knows that it has to do with what happened on the tower in LaRousse. However, he's not sure what to do about it. He tries to motivate it by offering to work with it on its new move, even going as far as telling the wood gecko that what happened wasn't his fault. But nothing works. It just sits there, looking at the ground, having a pity party for itself. This makes Ash concerned about it. They were making such great progress, but now it's even worse than ever. But then he has an idea. If Grovyle won't train on its own, then maybe a little stimulation will trigger it. It's here that he gathers all of his Pokemon and begins to conduct a plan. They are all going to attack it and try to force it to defend itself. Let's see if it still has that strength inside. So they follow through with Ash's crazy idea. First, an Iron Tail from Pikachu. This actually hits, but no real response. Then Milotic with its newest attack, Twister. This actually moves the grass type, but only under the power of the move. Next comes Snorunt, as an Icy Wind comes in that hits for super effective damage. But the Ice type likes this game and keeps it up, causing Grovyle to become a little frustrated, and it begins to move out of the way before it can be hit. This causes Snorunt to turn down the cold, as Icy Wind begins to change into something more intense that hits Grovyle for some super effective damage. But it quickly loses power, causing Ash to wonder what just happened. But he will have to look into that later, as up next is Spoink, and it uses a Psywave to attack, hitting Grovyle unguarded yet again, sending it into a tree. Then Mawile steps up to launch its new Lava Whip, as Ash comes to call it. However, as the move prepares to connect, something happens. Grovyle lets out a cry of frustration that no one has ever heard from it before. Then it starts glowing and overgrow, and the blades on its arms grow in size as it jumps at Mawile, striking it with this new power. This stuns everyone, but none more than Grovyle. You see, your power is still there, Grovyle. Please, let me help you bring it out. Train with us. It may be slow, and you will want to quit, but I promise you, I won't let you. There is a great power deep within you, and I know that I can help you bring it out. The wood gecko looks at the glowing blades on its arms and the aura that now surrounds it. They slowly subside, leaving it in awe. small. It's here that Ash kneels down to Grovyle and does the only thing that he can do. He hugs it. You're not alone. We all want you to succeed and grow stronger. We know that you have the power inside of you, and we will do anything we can to help you. In this moment, the wood gecko finally understands what Ash has been trying to tell it. In the moments when you can't hold yourself up, your friends will be there to lift you up, so you can still walk among them until you can carry yourself once more. With tears in its eyes, it nods as Ash knows that he has finally gotten through to it. Well, let's get to it. There's a long road ahead of us, so we need to get started. The next 3 days, Ash and all of his Pokemon engage in a very competitive training session. While Grovyle is unable to access its moves at will as of yet, as there is still something holding it back, it is willing to take the coaching of its fellow Pokemon and Ash, which is the first solid step. This brings us to the day of the competition. The place is packed with every coordinator that Hoenn has to offer. It even brought out some first-timers as Tyson is competing, much to Ash's surprise. But the way he looks at it, Tyson will be that much stronger when they have their full battle. This leads us into May's first contest, as she has chosen the Smart class, trying out her newest Pokemon in Munchlax. While it is a bit dull and won't listen when its stomach growls or there is food nearby, May has found that it is actually a very proficient Pokemon for contest. It is able to get May through the demonstration rounds without a hitch with its use of moves like Metronome. However, May is quickly going to become on edge after the first round when she finds out that Drew is in the same class as her. This means that there's a very real chance that they could end up facing each other, which clearly comes to pass as May finds herself in the finals, staring Drew down. While this wasn't the venue that he wanted to battle her in, Drew still takes this as seriously as if it were. This confidence and May's shakiness plays a big part when Combuskin is unable to best Absol as it is confused by the commands that are given by May. This results in May losing this round. However, Drew tells her that she needs to find that confidence that she had the other day. That is the trainer that he wants to battle before taking his ribbon and leaving. May is left with a decision to make as she heads off to prepare her last chance to get a final ribbon. This brings us to Ash, as he was able to easily clean up the beauty class of day 1 with the help of Snorunt and its new and improving Icy Wind, as well as Mawile and its new Lava Whip. The combination of fire and ice really impressed the judges, and Ash was able to take home his 4th ribbon. The boy is on cloud 9, feeling ready to take part in the Smart classes the following day. While all of this has been happening, Max has been silently watching in the audience, thinking about a way that he can get back at his sister and Ash for the way they treated him. This leads us into the next morning, as the group has yet to awake. Well, that is all except for Max, who woke up bright and early to pull off some revenge as he sees it. The boy starts with Ash taking his Pokeballs and heading outside of the Pokemon Center. His intentions are clear as he aims to hide them all until after the contest so Ash won't be able to enter. He also plans to do this with May, but the boy miscalculates his time as he wanted to make sure that they were as hard as possible for Ash to find. This results in him only being able to hide Ash's as his sister and Brock are now awake. Max rushes back into the Pokemon Center before they see him and suspect that he had something to do with Ash's Pokeballs going missing. Luckily, he is able to sneak back into the room while Brock and May are using the bathroom. He quickly climbs into bed and awaits the mayhem to unfold. As the way he sees it, this is the least that Ash deserves for what he has done since they met. This will teach him a lesson one way or another. It's another hour or so before Ash is up, but it takes a moment for him and Pikachu to get moving. The whole time, May and Brock are urging him to get going. Today is the last day of the contest and they have a lot to do. Eventually, our hero begins to take things seriously as he is ready to start the day. However, he immediately is thrown for a loop when he gets dressed and can't find one of his most vital items as a Pokemon trainer. All of his Pokeballs, except for Pikachu's, are missing. This causes a panic to set in as Ash asks if any one of his friends have seen his balls. However, May and Brock say they haven't. Chaos begins to set in as our hero demolishes the room trying to find them, but there is no trace. It's like they just got up and walked away. It's here that Max pretends to wake up, wondering what all the commotion is. In a panic, Ash questions if the boy has seen his Pokeballs, but Max feigns ignorance as he was asleep all night. Ash begins to lose it, thinking someone came in during the night and stole them. This causes May and Brock to check their balls, which are still all accounted for. But there is another problem. The start time for the contest is super close. At this point, Ash has to abandon any hopes of entering in hopes of finding his Pokemon. This is where May tells him that she will help him with Brock and Max, but Ash tells her no. She needs to get her final ribbon. This could be her last chance, so she shouldn't waste it. He will find them. Reluctantly, May does as Ash tells tells her and rushes to the contest hall as he, Brock, and Max fan out across the center to find Ash's Pokeballs. While Ash and Brock do their best to ask around, even going as far as to reporting the theft to Officer Jenny, Max does his best to stay clear of the areas that he hit the balls in. The way he figures it, after the contest is over, he will go back and get each one of them, then move them back into the room so that way it can be blamed on Ash's own incompetence. Max is enjoying watching Ash squirm after everything that he has done, though the boy does get a bit nervous when Officer Jenny gets involved and she brings in some of the local police to help solve the incident. What follows is an investigation that spans over a couple of hours, as the first thing they do is research Ash's room, which causes Max to squirm a little in his own right as he now knows his original ending to this plan was no longer viable. Seeing things closing in on him, Max makes the decision to begin to move the balls one by one as he claims that he needs to use the bathroom, but runs to the first ball to move it. However, when he gets there, the boy is shocked to find that the ball is no longer in the spot he left it. This causes Max to begin to panic, as now what he has done is no longer teaching Ash a lesson, but now he has put all of Ash's Pokemon in danger. Someone must have seen Max, and now they stole the balls. This is very worrisome for the boy, as now he knows that this is a real crime, and he is the one responsible. It's here that his own overactive imagination begins to run wild, as he imagines himself in jail for what he did, with May disowning him as a brother, and worst of all, his parents never loving him again. This causes the boy to begin to hyperventilate in the middle of the Pokemon Center, with Brock, Ash, and Jenny all coming out to see a crowd forming around him. By this point, the final day of contest has wrapped, as several hours have passed and May has returned to the Pokemon Center with some great news. She secured her 5th ribbon, though the whole time she was thinking about Ash and his lost Pokemon. But to her surprise, Munchlax proved to be a wild card here once again, and it was able to win things in the final round. Though it was a bit embarrassing the way it happened, as during the battle it got distracted by someone's food in the crowd. However, nonetheless, she got her ribbon. But she is going to be knocked out of Cloud 9 when she finds that Max is panicking in the lobby, but unable to form any words. May asks what happened, and did Ash find his Pokemon? They inform her that there has been no luck in that department, and they don't know what has happened to Max. However, as May begins to console her brother, Drew steps forward from the crowd. So these are your Pokeballs, he says, as he presents 5 to Ash, which Pikachu is able to quickly identify by the scent on the balls. This causes a moment of confusion for everyone except Max, as a look of fear washes across his face. A very happy Ash thanks Drew and asks where he found them, to which the verdant-haired boy simply points to Max and says, "Why don't you ask him?" And this is where we are going to leave things for now. So tell me, how did you enjoy this part? How do you feel about Brock and his newest capture? Do you think the berries that he found will help him create an actual master block? What about May? Do you think she is in a good spot now that she has 5 ribbons? Or is Max going to cause her more problems than she can handle now that she has her 5th ribbon? What about Ash? With the Slateport Super Contest over, will he have another chance to earn his 5th ribbon, or is he out of the running for the Grand Festival? And finally, what about Max? Has he finally crossed a line that there is no coming back from? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.